What is up, guys? Soon the Savage back, and today we are here with NFL Week Traquan Smith predictions. Don't get it? It's week 10. It's week 10 predictions, y'all. So I know my last predictions video came out later than I wish it would have. Well, I just got incredibly lazy. This one I am planning on putting out during Thursday Night Football between the Chargers and Raiders. So it'll be coming out sooner. So let's see how these predictions hold up. And, last week was maybe one of my worst prediction videos ever. It was just, I was so inaccurate. I missed so many games. I think I might have gotten less than 50% right. But enough about that. New week, new teams, new predictions are about to come out. So anyways, without further ado, let's get this video started. Of course, where else will we start outside of our Thursday Night Football matchup? Today, this matchup is between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Oakland Raiders. So starting out, you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who came off a 26-11 victory over the Packers. And then you got the Raiders, who came off a 31-24 victory over the Detroit Lions. So let's start out with the Chargers. Man, you guys shocked me last week. You really did. The Packers, one of the best teams in the league, one of the best offenses, a pretty good defense, better than what they've had recently. And what you pulled off was nothing short of miraculous. Mainly on defense, you held the Packers to just over 200 yards, which is an amazing performance because this is one of the best offensive teams in the league, and your defense just completely silenced them. But in terms of offense, Phillip Rivers threw for 294 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Melvin Gordon has been seeing a little bit more than Austin Eckler, getting a lot more touches as he had 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. Your top receivers were Mike Williams, 3 receptions, 111 yards, and then Hunter Henry, 7 receptions, 84 yards. Overall, a very good game played against one of the best teams in the NFL. So you guys, it took you a little bit of a while to prove to me something, and you just did that. So props to you. And then you have the Raiders, back in Oakland, you guys made this game incredibly close, but of course you came out on top. Derek Carr threw 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, no pick. Derek Carr, ever since his injury in the 2016 season, he's been declining, but slowly, what I've seen recently, he's starting to increase. He's getting a little bit better, and he did have a very good game against the Lions, but it wasn't just all him. The other workhorse of the game was, of course, Josh Jacobs, with 28 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Your receivers, none of them could crack over 60 yards. 3 of them cracked for over 50 yards. But other than that, you guys played decently offensively, and then eventually you came up clutch defensively, picking off Matthew Stafford once and stopping them on the final drive to win the game. So if I got to pick a winner for this one, I'm going to buy into the Chargers and what they've been doing recently. So this game, Chargers will win. So now you move on to our very first Sunday afternoon football matchup, which is maybe the most unique matchup between the New York Giants and the New York Jets, the Battle of the New Yorks. Honestly, I would love to see this in primetime. I'm not going to lie, New York versus New York. But these teams both suck. Starting off with the Giants, came off a 37-18 loss against the Dallas Cowboys, and then the Jets, you guys lost the fucking Dolphins. It's 26-18. Not much else I can say about that, but starting off with the Giants, you guys had momentum going with you for probably about the first 2 quarters, at least the first quarter and a half. Then all of a sudden, as soon as the Black Cat ran on the field, it just showed the end of you. Starting off, Daniel Jones threw for 210 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He actually had more rushing yards than Saquon, as Saquon had 28 rushing yards. Daniel Jones had 54. But Barkley kind of made up for it with 67 reception yards. Anyone else I can really point out, it's Golden Tate made a nice little OBJ-styled catch. But other than that, that was about it. You stopped the Cowboys for the first half, but then, of course, they slowly got back and just finished you. And then the Jets. You guys ruined 0-16 of the Dolphins. I used to make fun of the Dolphins, 0-16, 0-16, 0-16. Well, guess what? I'm making fun of you now. You're the new punching bag. So starting off, Sam Darnold, 260 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Le'Veon Bell ran for 66 yards, and that was about it. I mean, he also had 55 reception yards, showing that the way he was in Pittsburgh, he's slowly coming back, but the Jets are nowhere near as good as the Steelers. Jamison Crowder, 8 receptions, 83 yards and a touchdown. Honestly, I can't be happy with you guys. You lost the Dolphins. Like, seriously. Like, I thought this team was going to go 0-16, but somehow they won. Your defense allowed Fitzpatrick to actually have a very good game. So hang your heads in shame. And if I want to pick a run at this one, going to be the Giants. Plain and simple. And now you are moving on to our very next 1 o'clock football matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and my boys New Orleans Saints. Starting off, both these teams were on their bye weeks, but back in Week 8, the Falcons came off a 27-20 loss against the Seahawks, and the Saints came off a 31-9 victory over the Cardinals. Starting out the Falcons, before I get to the Falcons, I thought this matchup was going to be pretty good. Saints-Falcons. But of course, now that the Falcons have absolutely no defense, I've kind of it just came to me that this matchup's going to be nowhere near as good. So last game, you guys were actually without Matt Ryan. You had Matt Schaub, who, threw for 460 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. So a very good game he actually played. Devontae Freeman, nothing. 39 rushing yards. But he did have 63 receiving yards, which is making up for what he didn't do on the ground. But of course, Julio Jones, 10 receptions, 152 yards. Calvin Ridley, 4 receptions, 70 yards. Honestly, the big guy for your team this year, outside of Jones, is Austin Hooper. 6 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. So, the Seahawks owned you for the first half, but they kind of checked out in the second half. You guys had a chance to come back, but it was just all a little too late. And then you get back to the Saints. Drew Brees is freaking back. He threw 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. The pick was made by a very good play by Patrick Peterson. Latavius Murray had to make up for Kamara, and he did that with 102 rushing yards and a touchdown. And he also had 9 receptions, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Michael Thomas just receiving everything, 111 yards, 11 receptions, and a touchdown. Taysom Hill has more touchdowns than OBJ. But he ended up with 3 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. The defense, you stopped a possibly explosive Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, as they just had way too much trouble getting anything going in the Superdome. So if I got to pick a winner of this one, no doubt, New Orleans Saints. Moving on. Now we are moving on to our very next match between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans. Starting off, the Chiefs last week came off a 26-23 victory over the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Titans came off a 30-20 loss against the Carolina Panthers. So let's start out with the Chiefs. It was close game he played, but of course you were just able to edge out the Vikings. Starting off, Matt Moore, 275 yards and a touchdown. He's no Mahomes, but he's serviceable. He was able to bring you to victory. Damian Williams, 12 carries, 125 yards and a touchdown. Other than that, nothing else from the rushing game. And then there was Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions, 140 yards and a touchdown. Watkins, Kelsey, both combined just for around 62 yards and 7 receptions. So both of them played very good games. The defense was clutch, stopping the Vikings as they went on a possible game-winning drive. But other than that, Kirk Cousins still can't beat teams over 500. And then you move on to the Tennessee Titans. You guys had a slight glimmer of hope when Tannehill was actually pretty good, but, he prolapsed. He collapsed a little bit. Threw 331 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Derrick Henry, the workhorse, 63 rushing yards and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, none of your guys cracked over 90 yards. A.J. Brown did the most, 81 yards. But your receivers, Tannehill didn't do so well. Your defense couldn't stop Christian McCaffrey, but it's okay. Not many defenses can actually stop McCaffrey. And so if I got to pick a winner for this one, it's looking a little bit better for the Chiefs since Mahomes was fully practicing today. So Mahomes, I think he's going to return this week, and he's just going to steamroll over the Titans. So Chiefs will easily walk out with a victory. And now we are moving on to the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Starting off, the Ravens came off a 37-20 victory over the Patriots. And then the Bengals were on their bye week last week, but then they beat the Rams. No, they lost the Rams. Sorry, lost the Rams 24-10. So Ravens. That's enough clapping for now, but you guys took down the Patriots. I am so happy. The Patriots finally got handed their first loss. They looked pretty sloppy. You show them what an actual team plays like. They play a real team. This year, they prolapsed. They don't play well, but unlike the Bills game, the Ravens were the ones that pulled through. Lamar Jackson, 163 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, and no picks. Mark Ingram ran for 115 yards. Jackson ran for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the receivers, not much because they stuck to more of a ground game. The Patriots were absolutely no answer for Lamar Jackson on the ground. So honestly, I am happy. You guys actually proved to me something. Like, your defense isn't great, but if your offense performs the way it is, you could actually be a decent and legitimate threat for January football. And then the Bengals. Now, you guys are going to go 0-16. Starting off, Andy Dalton threw 329 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Mixon ran for 66 yards. He followed that up with 11 receiving yards, but he also had a touchdown. Alex Erickson has kind of been the new workhorse. 6 receptions, 97 yards. Tyler Eifert, 6 receptions, 74 yards. Tyler Boyd, 6 receptions, 65 yards. So honestly, the Bengals, I don't know why you're even thinking about starting Ryan Finley. Like, Dalton hasn't actually been too bad this season, but I guess you're starting him. I mean, for the first half, it was kind of close against the Rams, but of course, you were absolutely no answer for Cooper Kupp. And honestly, you're going to be no answer for Lamar Jackson as the Ravens easily win this game. Now we are moving on to our next matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns. The Bills came off a 24-9 victory over the Washington Redskins last week, and the Browns came off a 24-19 loss against the Denver Broncos last week. So starting off the Bills, I'm not sure what to think about you guys. I mean, you guys, amazing defense. Your offense is not so great. But let's go to the offense. Josh Allen, 160 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Not exactly a great game. Devin Singletary finally, thank you, Sean McDermott, for finally considering Singletary, as he had 95 rushing yards and a touchdown, as he also followed that up with, give me a sec, 45 receiving yards. So very, very good game played by Singletary. John Brown, 4 receptions, 76 yards. Your defense stopped the Redskins, but that's really no accomplishment. The Redskins kind of suck. I mean, Adrian Peterson did once again rush for 108 yards. But other than that, easy win over the Redskins. And then the Browns, god damn it, guys. I always keep thinking you're going to do something, but you don't. Baker Mayfield, 273 yards, a touchdown, no picks. The defense got picked apart by Brandon Allen, Phillip Lindsay, Noah Fant, and Cortland Sutton. But Nick Chubb ran for 65 yards. He followed up with 26 receiving yards. Odell Beckham Jr. has not been what Cleveland wants him to be. Honestly, at this point, if he keeps up, if he's not playing well, I would not be surprised if he gets shipped off in the offseason. But anyways, he had 87 receiving yards on 5 receptions. So honestly, you guys made it close, but of course, Denver somehow was more clutch. And honestly, you guys are getting Kareem Hunt back. Kareem Hunt has served his 8-game suspension, and now he will be playing. And of course, Freddie Kitchens says that Chubb's workload will be cut down a lot. So I don't know what to think about you guys, but it doesn't matter because the Bills will win this game. And now you are moving on to the Arizona Cardinals and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Cardinals came off a 28-25 loss against the 49ers on Halloween night. And then the Buccaneers came off a 40-34 loss against the Seahawks. So, yeah. And now we are going to get started with the Arizona Cardinals. So, you guys made it pretty close. Against a team like the 49ers, you gave their defense a run for their money. Kyler Murray, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Kenyon Drake, new in from Miami, had 15 carries, 110 rushing yards, and a touchdown. The rushing game, other than that, wasn't much. Your big reception was from Andy Isabella, your tight end, as he had 1 reception, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that, your receivers didn't get too much. Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk were just incredibly limited. And not much else I could say, but you guys did get picked apart by Jimmy Garoppolo and Matt Breida. And so then you move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Came so close to taking down the Seahawks. But let's get this started. Jameis Winston, 335 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Played a very, very good game. Ronald Jones, the second, 67 rushing yards and a touchdown. Other than that, your rushing game wasn't much. But of course, your biggest guy was Mike Evans, 12 receptions, 180 yards, and a touchdown. But your defense is still horrible. You guys got completely burned by Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. But to be honest, I'm not going to knock you guys for that. That is honestly an offensive juggernaut. Russell Wilson's just been getting better and better, and you guys got picked apart. So this game is two explosive offenses with incredibly crappy defenses. Who comes out on top? I'm just going to say the Cardinals because I feel like a game where Jameis Winston is in this situation, I think he's just going to throw pick after pick after pick. So, of course, Cardinals win this game. And now we are moving on to the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. I'm sorry, when I film in here, I'm filming here. Currently, it's beginning of November. I'm in my back room. This room is absolutely freezing. I wear this outfit for every football video I like to make. But I already had my first snowfall. And considering that we barely started November, that's giant alarm bells are ringing. But enough about that. The Detroit Lions came off a 31-24 loss against the Raiders. And then the Bears came off a 14-22 loss against the Eagles. So starting off, the Lions, you guys kept it close. I know the Raiders don't have good defense, but Matthew Stafford, 406 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. None of that was in garbage time. He's actually proving that he's actually it hasn't exactly been a fluky season. He's been pretty good. Your rushing game, well, without Kerryon Johnson, you're nothing. Kenny Golladay, 4 receptions, 132 yards and a touchdown. Marvin Jones, 8 receptions, 126 yards and a touchdown. You guys were so close to winning. 4th and goal, and your third-string tight end ends up dropping the ball. I don't remember who it was, but he cost you the game. And then the Bears. Really, you guys have one of the best defenses in the league, a decent rushing game, but it's Trubisky that's terrible. Trubisky, 10 for 21, 125 yards. You guys were held to 9 yards in the first half, 5 3-and-outs. That offense is just terrible. David Montgomery, 14 carries, 40 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Montgomery's seen as a little bit more of a running back now. I mean, Tariq Cohen, he's getting a lot more touches than Tariq Cohen. So it's good to see Montgomery finally be able to shine. Can't say much about your receivers because the only good one was Taylor Gabriel, 3 receptions, 69 yards. Other than that, none of your receivers could even crack over 10 yards. That are generally wideouts because Montgomery had 36 receptions. The Eagles, they finally had a statement victory over a defense like you. Zach Ertz finally came back. Other than that, I gotta make a prediction for this one, and it's gonna be the Lions. I know the Bears have a good defense, but that offense is just terrible. I can't trust Trubisky. Why did you trade up one spot, sacrifice multiple first-round picks, mid-round picks, and you draft Trubisky? There was still Mahomes. There was still freaking Deshaun Watson. Why? But anyways, Lions win. And now we are moving on to our very first 4 o'clock game, which is between the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts. Dolphins, you won a game. You beat the Jets 26-18, and then the Colts came off a 26-24 loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Starting off the Dolphins, wow, you just did it. You ruined 2 things, 0-16 and your tank. If you guys want freaking Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know how the hell to pronounce his last name, but it's your choice to ruin your tank, because now you have the 4th spot. Not cool, guys. But, anyways, Fitzpatrick threw for 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Your rushing game is nothing. Mike Gesicki had 6 receptions, 95 yards. I actually played Madden, Face of the Franchise. With the Dolphins, I'm not exactly the greatest player. I do love my tight ends. They run mid-routes, so, I'm pretty good with short routes, but I like that mid-route game. Enough about that. Your defense stopped the Jets. Darnold's just been seeing ghosts. And then you have the Colts. Man, I don't know what to say, because Brissett, started the game off all right, but then he went down with an injury. Then you had Brian Hoyer, longtime backup to Tom Brady, and he threw 168 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Not a bad game. Marlon Mack, 89 yards, no touchdowns. Of course, your big receiver was Zach Pascal, 5 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. But, of course, Adam Vinatieri missed the game-winning field goal, which sucks because, he's getting up there in age, and he had 1 kick blocked, and then he missed the field goal. So that honestly sucks to see that happen. Because Vinatieri, honestly, this is his last go-around. He should just retire at the end of the season. Great career, but he's just too old. Just struggling. So if I got to pick a one of this one, I'm not buying into this new Dolphins hype. Colts will win with either Hoyer or Brissett. And now you are moving on to our very next matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers. The Panthers last week came off a 30-20 victory over the Tennessee Titans, and then the Packers came off a 26-11 loss against the Chargers. So starting off the Panthers, you guys are going to be without Cam Newton for the rest of the season, maybe for the rest of his career. You guys might be moving on just to Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, but of course, it was all, once again, Christian McCaffrey. Nearly 200 scrimmage yards and 3 total touchdowns, 146 rushing yards, and 20 receiving yards. Very good game. Your top receiver, DJ Moore, 7 receptions and 101 yards. No touchdowns. Curtis Samuel, 3 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Your defense ended up stopping the, your defense stopped the Titans. Ryan Sukkot missed 3 field goals. Not a good game. Was it Sukkot last week or was it Parkey? I don't remember who, but their kicker missed 3 field goals. Not exactly a good signing. And then the Packers, your offense was just completely silenced. Aaron Jones, limited to only 30 rushing yards. Aaron Rodgers, 161 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Devontae Adams, even though he's back, only had 7 receptions for 41 yards. Alan Lazard, 3 receptions, 40 yards. Your offense was completely silenced by the Chargers, who were looking for a victory like this. They came to play, and they ended up winning. They stopped you guys. You guys couldn't really stop Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler, maybe the new deadliest running back duo in the NFL. Gotta pick a one for this one. It's going to be the Packers, plain and simple. And now we are moving on to our final 4 o'clock matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Starting off, the Rams came off a 24-10 victory over the Bengals in Week 8 because they were on their bye week last week. And then the Steelers came off a 26-24 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. Starting off, the Rams, played the Bengals in London. Jared Goff threw 372 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Todd Gurley has definitely seen a decline as he only had 44 rushing yards and a touchdown. But honestly, even though Goff threw for 372 yards, a good portion, more than half of them, was from Cooper Kupp. 7 receptions, 220 yards, and a touchdown. Kupp is maybe the new wide receiver, the GOAT wide receiver for fantasy football. Very good performance he put up. Your defense, you stopped the Bengals, but that's not much of an accomplishment. The Bengals are not a good football team. At this point, they're starting Ryan Finley. Bad idea. And then you have the Steelers. Mason Rudolph, 191 yards, a touchdown and a pick. You're without, what's his face? You were without James Conner, but Jalen Samuels and Trey Edmonds, ran for just about 80 rushing yards. Not that much, but Jalen Samuels, I've seen him a little bit more as a receiver, as he had 13 receptions, 73 yards. At this point, as I look at it, trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick seemed a little iffy, and it was quite the cost, as it was at the cost of your first rounder. But Fitzpatrick has shown that he's worth it, as he picked off Brian Hoyer and ended up with a pick 6. He's been amazing ever since he came over to the Steelers. But even though he's been on the rise, the Steelers aren't going to win. The Rams will easily win this game. And now you move on to our Sunday night football matchup. So cold in here. Between the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. Starting out, the Vikings lost to the Chiefs 26-23, and then the Cowboys came off a 37-18 victory over the New York Giants. So starting off, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins once again laid another egg against the team over 500, as he, even though he threw for 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, he was only 50% in passing. Dalvin Cook only had 71 rushing yards and 45 receiving yards, silenced against the Chiefs. But anyways, not exactly silenced, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't a performance that he's been used to all season long. But of course, your big receiver, it wasn't Stephon Diggs. He only had 1 reception for 4 yards. It was Laquan Treadwell, 3 receptions, 58 yards. Your defense, you fell to Matt Moore and the Chiefs, and you gave up a 92-yarder touchdown to Damian Williams. Not great. And then the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, first play of the game, he throws a pick. But of course, the The Cowboys looked like crap for the first quarter and a half, but of course, like I said, for the Giants, once the Black Cat ran on the field, that completely changed. Momentum completely shifted. Dak Prescott threw for 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Ezekiel Elliott, 23 carries for 139 yards. Cooper, 4 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that, momentum just changed. You made Daniel Jones cough up the ball twice, one for a pick and one for a lost fumble. So gotta pick a winner for this one. Don't forget, it's Kirk Cousins on primetime. He doesn't exactly shine at that. So of course, gonna be the Cowboys. Now you have our Monday Night Football matchup. The grand finale between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. Pretty good matchup, not going to lie. And then Seahawks came off a 40-34 victory over the Buccaneers in overtime. And then the 49ers came off a 28-25 victory over the Cardinals. So starting off, oh my God. The Seahawks, Russell Wilson, 378 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Your defense, not too good. I mean, Jameis Winston did pick you guys apart for 34 points, as he threw for 335 yards. Chris Carson, 105 rushing yards, no touchdowns. But, of course, the game was all by Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and Jacob Hollister. Lockett, 13 receptions, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 6 receptions, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Jacob Hollister, 4 receptions, 37 yards, and the game-winning touchdown. It was close because, your kicker, Jason Myers, just kept missing kicks. Shouldn't have gone to overtime, but, of course, you guys pull it off in the end. Good victory. Then, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, 8-0. Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Matt Breida, 15 carries, 78 yards. Tevin Coleman, people thought he would explode like he did against the Panthers. He did not. Only had 23 rushing yards. Emmanuel Sanders, big receiver, 7 receptions, 112 yards and a touchdown. George Kittle, 6 receptions, 79 yards and a touchdown. Your defense was seen as amazing, but Kyler Murray, he kept it close, got 25 points. The Cardinals were within steps of beating you, but of course their defense is an open door as they had many chances to stop you on third down and have a chance for a game-winning drive. I got to pick a winner for this one. I know the 49ers are favored, but I think their amazing winning streak will come to an end as the Seahawks pull off a massive upset on Monday Night Football. That is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to see my first 9 prediction videos, all the links will be in the description below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what other kind of videos you want to see. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at SudaSavage. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation is out.